Hello, welcome to More Yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I thought today we would work into dancer's pose, one of my favorite poses anyway, and I think a lot of people I know quite enjoy it because it looks pretty fancy, looks pretty spectacular. It's really great work for the stabilizing leg, really fantastic opener for the hips and the chest and the shoulders on the opposite side. So it's got everything going for it. I don't know if you've ever seen these statues or these images of Shiva and Nataraja. So Shiva, the Lord, I guess, or the main god in the Hindu pantheon. One of them anyway. It changes from time to time. Um, Dancing, like doing this pose. So it's based on the idea that after the universe collapses and crumbles into a burning heap, Shiva will be there dancing on the burning remains of the universe, which is an image that resonates quite a lot with me today. So, channel your inner badassness and let's work towards dancing on the crumbled, burning, smoldering remains of anything that we don't need. Could be the universe. It could just be an interaction with someone that you need to get out of your system. So let's start lying down. You can be on your back, ideally, although we'll end up switching around between backside and prone on the belly. And if there's any other little bit of movement that you need to get rid of before you come down to your back, then just go where you need to go. Bent, either legs bent or straight, or, maybe soles of the feet together, knees wide. And then once you are still, for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh. Your breath away. Couple more. And continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. Draw your focus to your breath. Maybe you notice the gentle rise and fall of your belly or chest. And a widening of your rib cage on the floor with every inhale. The softening of your whole body with every exhale. You might notice none of these things. Maybe you notice all of them. Both are fine. You might notice qualities like deep or shallow, moist or dry, warm or cool. The last few breaths here. And then start to bring a little bit of movement back to your body. Whatever way feels best for you to wake up here. A little wiggle of your fingertips or toes, or maybe a little rock of your head from side to side, or a full body morning stretch. And then draw your knees into your chest and take a little rock from side to side. Let's just massage out the base of the spine or the pelvis. If you want to draw circles with your legs and your hip sockets you can. You might extend your legs or keep the knees bent, right? Just going wherever you need to go in your body. And then bend your knees, bring your feet back to the floor, and in fact, extend your legs on the floor. So think of the shape of a banana. Pretty easy. We're going to make that shape lying down on the floor. So maybe bring your right leg out to the right a little bit more, and then maybe you hook your left ankle over top, or even the right ankle over top, but just bring in that or both legs over to the right a little bit more, and then start to reach your arms up and over to the right as well. You can even grab onto the left wrist with your right hand if you'd like a little bit more traction through the side. But just starting to make the shape of a banana. So getting a little bit more length, a little bit more release into the side of the body. And then come back to center, and then we'll take our banana to the opposite side. So feet over to the left, arms over, up and over to the left as well. Getting now into the right side of the body. It could be really shallow, it could be quite deep. Just depends on how your body feels today. All right, and then slowly come back to center. Whew, shake it all out. And then roll onto one side. So for me, I am on my left side. And if you want, you can prop your head up on your hand, or you might rest your head on your arm. Bottom knee bent will give you a little bit more stability here from rocking side to side, but it can be extended if you wish. And I want you to kick the heel of the top foot, it doesn't matter what leg it is, in toward your bum. Now, right away as I do that, my knee lifts up. So bring the knee back, and then maybe you can grab either the outside edge or the inside edge of your foot with your top hand. So here we are in essentially dancer's pose. We're just doing it from our sides instead. But what I want to get into is this quad stretch, right? Because when we stand up, we tend to go out of the quad stretch and into like the fantastic variation of the pose. So hug the legs toward each other, squeeze the bum, hug the heel toward the bum a little bit more, and then press your hips forward. So you should be feeling this on the tops of the, over the top of that top thigh. Getting into the quads. Doesn't particularly matter if you're grabbing the outside edge or the inside edge of the foot. Last breath here. And then gently release. Now, if you don't need to look at me, then just roll to the other side. Otherwise, do kind of like a crazy switch like I have to do. Right away, we'll do the opposite side. So again, maybe you rest your head on your hand or on your arm. Maybe that bottom leg is extended, maybe it's bent, but top heel kicks in toward the bum. Grab the outside or inside edge of that foot and then hug your legs toward each other. Bring that heel in toward your bum a little bit more and then squeeze the bum so the hips come forward. Make sure that knee isn't lifting up too much toward the sky. Make sure your top shoulder isn't rocking forward. So can you open it back? Last couple of breaths here. And then release, shake everything out. And then come on to your belly. Little wiggle of your hips from side to side. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of the feet into the floor, so much so you feel your kneecaps lift away. Send your tailbone to the back wall, belly button to spine. And then wrap your shoulder blades onto your back. Inhale, lift up partway. Baby cobra. Exhale, lower back down. 2 more. Okay, and then come back down to the floor. From here, extend your right hand in front of you onto the floor, your right arm. Palm could be flat on the floor, you might be up on fingertips, but retract your shoulder blades. So there's activity there. Press the top of the right leg into the floor. So the whole right side of the body is quite active, and then kick your heel to your bum on your left side. Okay, I'm lifting my head up just so I don't muffle the mic, but your forehead might still be on the floor. Start to hug that left heel into your bum a little bit more. Again, maybe grab the outside edge of the foot, maybe the inside edge. Wrap that left shoulder onto your back. So option to stay here, again in this variation of dancer's pose, but now from the belly, hugging the heel toward you. Or maybe you start to kick that foot away from you, lifting up into half bow. Really press the right leg or the tops of the right foot into the floor a little bit more. And then release everything down. Little wiggle of the hips or even a windshield wiper of the legs. And then let's switch sides. So left arm extends either palm to the floor or on fingertips. Kick the right heel to the bum. Hug the heel in towards your bum. Wrap your shoulder onto your back. Think of sending your kneecap to the bottom edge of the mat. Really active through the whole left side of the body. Option to stay here or option to start to kick that right foot away from you, lifting up into half bow, but squeeze the bum. Back of the neck stays long. And then slowly, gently release. You can bring your forehead onto your hands, maybe a little windshield wiper of your knees. And then bring your hands underneath you, press yourself up, hands and knees, a little wiggle or shake. And this is quite important just to release any tension that might have built up in the low back from this, especially this cat pose. Press the floor away from you. Send your heel or your hips back toward your heels a little bit more. Couple more breaths here, whether just through normal cat and cow or moving however you need to move. Okay, and then come back to center. I'm going to turn to face you, and then on your, we're going to do a bit of single leg kneeling balance. Yeah, I'm going to bring a pad underneath my left knee for a bit of cushioning, and then step your right foot forward. So coming up to half kneeling. You might go into your full variation of low lunge to start with if you want to do that. Awesome. Otherwise, join me, hug the legs toward each other, really squeeze the bum on that back leg, belly button to spine, shoulder blades on your back, maintaining all that activation, then sink into that front knee. Okay, so back toes can be tucked or untucked, but what we're looking for is a hard squeeze of the bum on that back leg to really open through the hip flexors on that back leg. Ground through the front heel a little bit more so the knee isn't wobbly, but it's quite steady. And then inhale the arms up to the sky. Option to stay here or flip the palms skyward, grab hold of the left wrist with the right hand, lift a little bit taller, exhale over to the right. Whew! Opening the entire left side of the body. Okay, inhale, come back to center. Let's shift the hips back and extend through your front leg for half splits. Hands could be on hips. If you have a wall, you could grab a wall or blocks or coffee table. Maybe your fingertips come to the floor. Really wrap that left hip forward. Draw your right hip back. Little micro bend or even a deep bend on that front knee. Just don't lock it back. Peel the toes back toward your face a little bit more. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly ripple forward again. Come back to hands and knees. Little wiggle or shake, or cat and cow. And then we'll switch sides. So I'm going to bring that cushion underneath my right knee and then step or sweep the left leg forward. Again, if you want to go right away into your sort of yoga low lunge, then go there. Otherwise, join me in the active variation, hugging the legs toward each other. Squeeze the bum, belly button to spine, shoulder blades on the back. And then you start to sink into that front knee. Probably much less range of motion, having all of these activations going. Grounds through the front heel, really squeeze the bum on that back leg. Not only will that help open through the hip flexors, but it'll start to trigger the glutes, right, to work so that when we're standing and trying to balance, they'll be doing what they need to do for us. Inhale the arms overhead again. Maybe you stay here or flip the palms to the sky, grab hold of that right wrist, lift tall. Exhale over to the left. Keep breathing. It's as much for me as it is for you. There's something to be said about bracing and holding the breath once in a while, but if you're here for a long time, you can't, right? Come back to center. Exhale, shift your hips back, extending through the front leg, half splits. Make sure that left hip isn't hiking up too much. Wrap it down and back as that right hip comes forward slightly. Peel the toes back toward your face. Maybe you're up quite tall. I can get a really great hamstring stretch still here, but I enjoy going a little bit deeper. Maybe you have your fingertips on the floor, getting deeper still. Just depends on where you need to go. And last few breaths here. And then slowly inhale, rock forward, step to the top edge of your mat into your standing forward fold. Bend your knees a little bit. Maybe you're still just really feeling the strength of this position. Maybe you want to bring a little bit of movement to it today. Wherever you are, nod your head yes. Shake your head no. And let your head hang heavy, neck long. So no tension in the back of the neck. Last few breaths here. Okay, bring your fingertips to your shins. Inhale, little partway lift, belly button to spine. Equalize that blood pressure. Exhale, let it all go. 2 more on your own time, on your own breath. And then bend your knees, head heavy, arms heavy. Slowly start to roll up to standing. 1 vertebra at a time, slow as you need to go. Until eventually you come all the way up to standing. Maybe a loop of the shoulders, up, back, and down. A little noodle or release. Whatever you need to do to release. And then come back to feet hip width apart. Little buoyancy on those knees. Belly button to spine. Okay, let's fire up those glutes just a little bit more, and then we'll go into our dancer's pose. So inhale, chair pose. Hips down and back. Make sure the knees aren't caving in. Send them out to the baby toe edges of the feet. And then hands just kind of forward, because you're going to start to send all the way over to that right foot. Come onto the toes on that left leg. Maybe tap up and down. Make sure you're not lifting through the hip as you do that. Right? You still have chair pose on that right leg. And extend the left leg forward. Then pick it up. And then out to the left. And up. And back. And up. Out to the left again. And up. Watch this curtsy to the right. And up. Come back to center. Pause here. And then go all the way over to the left. Right? Keep that chair pose on the left leg, hips back. Couple taps up and down with that right foot. And then extend the right leg forward. And then pick it up. And then out to the right. And up. And then back. And up. Back out to the right. and up, curtsy to the left, and up, come back to center, last couple breaths here. Whew, snuggle down a bit deeper, and then come all the way up to standing. Shake it out. All right. Enough of that. We've fired up the glutes. We've opened through the hips. Let's get a little opening through the chest, and then we'll go into our dancer's pose. So I guess I lied. We've got one more thing. Feet hip width apart. A little buoyancy in those knees. Squeeze your bum, and then bring your palms to your low back, or even to your sacrum. Fingertips pointing down. Wrap the shoulders, the elbows toward each other. Squeeze the shoulder blades toward each other. This is a beautiful place to stay. You're already getting extension through the spine. You're getting the openings through the chest and the shoulders. If you'd like a little bit more, bend your knees, squeeze the bum, press the hips forward. Really think of lifting the heart up to the sky. I know some of you will stay here, some of you maybe will interlace the hands and glide them further down. Go where you need to go today. Think more of chest and shoulders opening than getting a big, big, big back bend. Last breath. Inhale all the way up. A little round forward, little release. Okay. Send your weight to your right leg. Here we go. Dancer's pose. If you have a wall nearby, particularly if your balance feels off today, that could be really handy. Kick your left heel to your bum. Okay, so again, as soon as we do this, right, we kind of have to lift the leg up. So bring it back into neutral. Kneecap goes down. Wrap your shoulder onto your back. You can grab the outside of the foot or the inside. If you grab the inside, it's really hard for that shoulder to round forward, so you get a bit more opening. Hug the legs toward each other. Squeeze the bum. Hug the heel into the bum. Little buoyancy on that supporting knee, right? So don't lock it out. Right arm might reach up to the sky for a bit of counterbalance. Now, if you're still getting a lot of tension through the quads here, then stay here. Otherwise, start to tip forward. Keep the hips square. Keep hugging the heel into the bum. We're going to stick with this variation for the first round. Open through the chest. And then slowly come back, release, little noodle. And then we'll switch sides. Weight over to the left foot. Right, if this knee isn't bent, then your glutes can't work the way they need to. Kick the right heel to the bum. Hug the legs toward each other. Squeeze your bum. Right, wrap your shoulder onto your back. Hug the heel into the bum. Maybe you counterbalance with that left arm. Again, beautiful place to stay if you're particularly if you're still getting a lot of tension, or rather release of tension through those quads. Otherwise, keep hugging the heel into the bum. Tilt forward just a little bit. Keep opening through the chest. Squeeze the bum. And then slowly come back. Shake it all out. Okay, so we have once more on each side. Lots of variations. First one, quad stretch. Second one, that little hip hinge that we did with the hip square. Third variation is when you open up the hips, kick the foot back, and go wherever you need to go. So let's try it one last time on the right side. Little buoyancy on that knee, belly bend to spine, shoulder blades on the back, kick the heel to bum. So we're going to go through all the steps, all the stages, open through the chest. Maybe you're here. Maybe you start to tilt forward a little bit, keeping the hips square. If that feels great, then good. Okay, buoyancy on that supporting knee. Squeeze the bum. Maybe you start to kick the foot away from you. Right, so remember we did this half bow pose on the floor. Right, kick the foot away from you. Pull back on the foot with the hand. And then slowly, release, shake it out a little bit. Stay longer if you want to. Right, you can always pause the video. Last time on the left side. Right heel comes to the bum, hug the legs toward each other. Maybe you stay here in the quad stretch. Maybe you have a hand on the wall. Maybe you tilt forward, keeping the hips square. Buoyancy on that supporting leg, belly bend to spine. Maybe you start to kick that right foot away from you, pulling back with the hand. Really squeeze the bum so you don't crank into the lower back. Single point of focus for the eyes helps tremendously with the balance. And then slowly, release. Shake it all out. And let's come into a forward fold. Help release through the low back a little bit more. Knees bent. Little sway from side to side. And then for 3 breaths, inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, let it all go. 2 more. And then bend your knees. Plant your hands. Come back to hands and knees. Little wiggle or shake. And then shift your hips on one side so that you can come to seated and then roll down onto your back. Oh, yeah. Draw the knees into the chest, little rock from side to side. So that was quite a lot of work for the glutes. Let's release them a little bit. Bring your left foot to the floor. Cross your right ankle over top of the left thigh. Figure 4. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you bring a block or something underneath that left foot, or maybe you draw the legs toward you. You don't have to use your hands, but you can if you want to. You could rock a little bit from side to side. See how that changes the stretch on that outer right hip. Try to keep the tension out of your neck, out of your shoulders. Think about how awesome it felt dancing on the burning remains of the universe. And then slowly return to center. Shake out the legs and then switch sides. So your left ankle crosses over top this time. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you deepen the stretch however you need to. Maybe you rock a little bit from side to side. Keep a nice flex on the left ankle. Last couple of breaths here. Okay, slowly inhale. Come back to center, unwind. Hug both knees toward you. Take your right arm out to the side. Maybe you shift your hips right to start with, and then exhale. Lower your knees to the left for a twist. You could have the knees stacked. You might take a single leg twist or cross leg. Go wherever you need to go. And inhale, return to center. Reset your spine, your pelvis. Maybe take the hips left a little bit. And then exhale, lower your knees to the right. Get as gentle or as deep of a twist as you need. One more inhale. One sweet exhale. And slowly return to center. If there's anything else you feel like you need before your rest, maybe some variation of happy baby or spinal flexion or extension, feel free to go where you need to go. Otherwise, start to find your pose of rest, whether you're flat on your back, legs bent, or straight. You might rest on your side or in child's pose or a seated meditation. And there's certainly no rush to get there. But once you have found your pose of rest for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh. Your breath away. Couple more. And let go of all breath control. So you return to your natural breath. Let go of any last muscle gripping or tension, particularly in your face or your neck. With each exhale, let your body melt a little bit deeper into the earth. And stay here longer if you can. 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.